Welcome back to Tech Talk, sponsored by AML, AMLcares.com, and I'm here with my good friend from FPM3 Marketing, Adam Oldfield.
That's me. I know.
I'm a social guy. You're a social guy.
You know, it's social is going to be again a 2012 item. I mean, we saw a lot of things happen in 2011. It was there, it existed, but it was a matter of how does it work, what's involved. Now everyone's on the bandwagon. They're aware of the bandwagon. Now, how do I make it work, and what's some of the trends that are going to take it? So,
and how do I construct my Twitter feed to maximize my business benefits?
Yeah, you know what? Again, we talk about this with our clients. I mean, you take social media as a whole. What is social media? Social media is like high school. You have your clusters of groups of people, and you have your jocks, you have your theater people, you have your computer guys, and you look at those when you look at social media sort of like you're walking into a high school environment, and what you got to do is it doesn't just turn on immediately. You don't become friends with these people, and some groups can cluster with others. Yep. The jocks can intermingle with the drama groups because they meet in the smoking area, and they're called now the smokers. So, you take a look at that group, you look at social media is the same way. It's a popularity contest in school. You want to hang out with somebody who's more popular because they have a lot of contacts and they're very well known, they're a little more senior. You want to sort of migrate into an area that you can relate to, so you got a community. That's what social media, in my opinion, can be, looked at. And that's pretty much what it is. So, talking about what's going to be hot, let's discuss in order some of the key ones. Facebook. Let's talk about that for a moment. Well, here's the good problem they have. They got 800 million users and growing. They're running out of people. Because technically, they pretty much got all of North America, and obviously a cluster over east. So I mean, they're running into a very, very healthy issue, and that is that there's not many more people to join. Yeah. Now, what are you going to do with them? Well, the future of Facebook is going to be now spending this time to share their information across and getting that information across each of the markets, and now building their ad revenue, building more of an ad sales development. And when they actually go public, could be interesting to see where that goes. However, what I find interesting is Facebook's launched out their new product with Timeline. And with Timeline, you might have seen it, it's still being rolled out. They're going to make everyone into a timeline system, so they're giving us some time to clean it up. But where this is interesting is that people are actually going in history is now building timelines of people that technically aren't even around anymore.
Yes.
So the new history is that you build on maybe you
live forever.
You live forever. But what about those that never had a chance to start a Facebook page? Well, now a lot of University of Nevada is now starting to put some people into Facebook that actually didn't even know technology existed. So, so the new craze is maybe to look at the timeline versus going to a history book. The new theory is that there's going to be a new chronicle encyclopedia on people.
You'll be able to friend Albert Einstein.
But how do you make this work in business is that you can be able to build a Facebook profile of your company. So you can be able to say, I started the company at this time. If you're the owner, I started the business here. Here's milestones across my life within the company. So you can see the building. So we all look at, say, Coca-Cola. They technically are claimed to be the inventor of Santa Claus, based back in the, did they or didn't they? We don't know. But if you take the timeline, you could probably look at the history of that company in Facebook and see how those milestones now relate. So that could be interesting.
That's a global autobiography of everyone.
Everyone. Anyone on Earth and continuing and in the past. So the new thought is to put the history books into Facebook.
That's great.
So the other side of it is now we now have these social medias. We have Twitter and we have Facebook, as we said. We got LinkedIn. We have YouTube. Now it's a matter of where do we go from here? We now start to find ways to measure it. So measuring meaning, how do I get the proper data? When I do buy a campaign, how is it turning into revenue for me? So a lot of new ad metrics are going to be the key component of success. So, they're calling it death of the page view. You probably have heard of that in the old metrics of how to measure a website. Well, the new way is to actually get social engagement and then manage that social engagement based on likes, based on responses, and build your ad revenue around that. So that's going to be key.
Wow.
YouTube. is growing, and we know that. It's the second largest search engine. However, it's also spending a lot of people's time, and it's going to become the channel for almost everything. And they're claiming YouTube for 2012 will become the new living room television network. Wow. So you can now go in, and they're really investing heavily in programming, premium programming for that matter, news broadcasts. They purchased out I think it was a Norwegian news center, and now they're taking that and they're building their own news networks.
They have Tech Talk as well.
They have Tech Talk. They have so many more. So what they're doing is, obviously, it's a wealth of information as a network to communicate. They're actually looking and building. I forecast in the next coming years, CNN will become YouTube's new version. They could easily compete with CNN in the near future.
Wow.
Because obviously people can submit their stories in the news reports, and it's a matter of how you build that, right? What's also new? Okay, so what's the next Facebook? What's the next Twitter? What's the next LinkedIn? Well, guess what? The new tier is there isn't one. What we have is what they are. Now we look at second-tier social media networks. What does that mean? Well, now we got to look at it and say, okay, well, all those products that intertwine with the existing social media networks and how those grow. As an example, Tumblr, we're talking about Pinterest. There's a couple niche ones in there. Google Plus, I would say, still is in there. It's the small little duck kind of trying to climb up and learn to fly. And that's going to be key. I think that will be the only next social media kickoff. But second-tier social media is what they're referring to, where they interlink with the existing social media items that are out there already. I also believe in social media being a new way of making revenue will be celebrity status. So a lot of celebrities have a lot of interest from fans. Now it's product placement. You're going to be using that specifically through a lot of the celebrities. Need to make some money. We saw that with Charlie Sheen. That happened quite a bit. In 2011, the guy used his social media opportunities to grow and build himself. Well, this is going to be a new thing. Kim Kardashian. We're talking about her with the new Barbie doll, and that's getting media news, but it's really spreading virally throughout the market, right? You take a look again at Katy Perry as she came out with another song. There was a song called Friday, and all of a sudden she turned that around, made her own song, put the girl in it, and we're talking success overnight. And the song, was pretty decent, but was it really amazing? Probably wouldn't have had the clout it had without that original.
Exactly.
So next piece, security threat. We're talking social media is the next security threat. When you got 800 million people, you're talking a hacker haven as far as I'm concerned, and they believe in it too. Nothing like causing destruction, not because they want to, but to prove it can be done. Hackers are not necessarily out to be terrorists. They're out to basically prove this is an issue and we can do this, and we've seen a lot of that. You saw it with the old thing down in Toronto and New York where you had the anonymous come out, don't do this or else we'll shut your systems down. Get ready, we're going to see more of this. How does this anonymous group come into the play and interact with our day-to-day lives? And we got to keep in mind all of our privacy issues. We'll get into more of that also down the line. And last, I think in 2012, social media is going to fuel the e-commerce. And it's going to help drive your business. As an example, I consulted with a group the other day on regarding how do I make my business become better? Well, the key thing in every business, even with all the tools we have, tablets, mobile phones, computers, is communication. We're still struggling on communication. Well, what is it you meant to say? What is it I need to do? Where are we with this? The reports. So one of the key things as an example to this, using Twitter as a capability of a sales team, setting up an internal Twitter account where they all tweet instead of email what's going on in their life. So they can be able to intercommunicate with each other based on just came from a meeting, had a great session, preparing a quote, and it only markets and networks within that cluster of people. So using now social media as an avenue to work and build your business and create that avenue of building more sales. And one of the key things right now in the United States, not so much in Canada, they're looking to regulate to become an internet tax. So anyone that's been online that technically doesn't have a state or province, doesn't have to charge the tax unless it's got a retail facility. Now there could be an internet tax coming out.
Wow. Interesting. All things social from two social guys. Adam Oldfield, FPM3. Thanks to AML. They're great guys. You got to go and see them if you need anything. Adam.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Alrighty.